And let me also thank CGCC for giving me this honor to speak tonight. And I will try to reciprocate your hospitality by further delay the main cause. But I want to take this opportunity to thank Chairman Tung Chee-hwa for coming all the way from Hong Kong for this event and giving us a most inspiring keynote speech. Thank you, sir. Let me also congratulate Mr. Steve Schwartzman and Hainan Airline and others that are awarded tonight. You have made tremendous contributions to our relationship. When we gathered in New York City, January last year, there was a significant degree of uncertainties about the future of China-US relations. Now, looking back, we are pleased to see this important bilateral relationship has maintained overall stability in the last year and made important progress thanks to the joint efforts of both sides. This shows there are growing and important common interests between the two countries that help to keep the relationship on the right track. This also shows our two countries are capable of making the right choices at critical junctures. Now we are at the beginning of a new year, and again, faced with new opportunities and challenges. How do we respond to the profound changes going on in the world? What kind of a vision we shall have for our two countries and for the relationship? What kind of goals we should set for ourselves and roadmap we should follow? So again, we have to make the right choices. And the choices we make today will not only have a direct bearing for this year, but also will make a big impact on the long-term evolution of the relations and the evolution of a world order. Of course, China has made its own choice, and very clear choice. The 19th Party Congress held last October drew a new blueprint for China's development for the decades to come. China will continue to follow the path of socialism with Chinese characteristics. But China's development has entered a new era with the main task to address the imbalances and inadequacies of our development in order to meet the growing needs of the people for better life. So China will pursue a people-centered development with a comprehensive strategy encompassing economic, political, social, cultural, and environmental aspects. China will continue to maintain a strong economic growth, but guided by a new vision with greater emphasis on innovation, coordination, green growth, openness, and sharing of benefits. China will continue to pursue and deepen reform and open its door even wider to the rest of the world. As you know, this year, 2018, marks the 40th anniversary of China's reform and opening up. As President Xi emphasized time and again when he met with the press at the conclusion of the Party Congress and when he delivered the New Year's message, that reform and opening up will continue to be the key to China's development and modernization drive. New measures for reform and opening up would be implemented this year, including in particular the first ever import fair to be held in Shanghai later this year. I'm very proud my hometown is hosting the first import fair of China. So all in all, we are confident the country is on the right track and will be able to achieve our 2 centenary goals, and the Chinese dream would come true. At the same time, we fully recognize China cannot achieve its goals in isolation from the world. China's development needs a stable, peaceful, and prosperous international environment. And a stronger and more confident China will be able to make even greater contribution to the international community, and together with other countries, make this world a much better place for all. Therefore, China will continue to follow the path of peaceful development, implement a strategy of opening for mutual benefit and a win-win outcome. What China seeks in the world is global partnerships, not global dominance. Our focus is not on the transfer of dominance from one power to another. Our aim is to build a new type of international relations and a community of mankind for a shared future. Therefore, China will continue to seek cooperation with other countries to improve global governance, maintain international order, build peace and stability, and promote common development. A good example would be the Belt and Road Initiative, with the intention to build connectivity across the continent so that more countries will be able to participate in development and benefit from economic globalization. So as China is getting closer to the center of the world stage, what we want to see playing there is a symphony, not a solo. And of all the partnerships we are building across the world, relations with the United States are the most significant and consequential. In close to half a century since Nixon Kissinger's first visit to China, China-US relations have withstood numerous tests presented by the profound changes going on in the world, and it has maintained overall stability. Despite all the differences between us, despite all the ups and downs, our cooperation has been deepening and broadening, bringing real benefits for people of both countries. This is quite evident in the history of the last few decades. But more recently, I have noticed some voices of doubt about the wisdom of building this relationship. And there are even attempts to question the value of people-to-people exchanges. There are even people who are trying to raise political obstacles to cultural exchanges between our two countries. I wonder if the next step is to shut down all the Chinese restaurants in the United States. Because Chinese cuisine is an essential ingredient of Chinese culture. Let me say this. Nothing is more silly than questioning one's own success. Nothing is more silly and harmful than denying the huge potential, great prospects of building a strong and mutually beneficial relationship between China and the United States. As for the so-called Thucydides trap, I think we would only be trapped if we allow ourselves to fall victim to the narrow and short-sighted mindset of zero-sum games. So we have to guard against the resurgence of Cold War mentality of the 1950s. And we should never allow anyone to stop our people from building friendship and better mutual understanding between them. As for the economic and trade relations, I think Mr. Dong made a very convincing case for stronger economic and trade relations between our two countries. Such relations have always been mutually beneficial. Both countries are much better off because of a growing trade and two-way investment between us. Of course, we are both faced with challenges such as uncertainty in the global economic growth, international financial turbulences, and the rapid development and application of new technologies and the stress such technology are putting on our social fabrics. But it's hard to convince the international community that the largest and most advanced economy in the world has been the main victim of economic globalization. I believe both Chinese companies and American companies have to enhance their competitiveness on the global market. Both Chinese workers and American workers have the right to ask for greater job stability, high income, and better life. Both Chinese economy and American economy need an open, inclusive, more balanced, and sustainable economic globalization with benefits more equitably shared by all countries. And both China and the United States, as the two largest economies in the world, share the responsibility to improve global economic governance and maintaining and strengthening the multilateral regime. And if we can do these things together, we'll be able to do a much better job. As for the economic imbalances, I think such imbalances do exist between countries in terms of international trade. And they also exist within national borders in terms of growing disparities of income. And domestic imbalances will not disappear just because some people are trying to put the blame on other countries. So ask not what others can do for you to solve your problems. Ask what we can do together to respond to the common challenges. The belief that protectionism will bring economic security is as false as the belief that nuclear weapons will bring better security for North Korea. Protectionist measures under political and national security excuses will only lead to distortions in the market, missed economic opportunities, and weakening of one's own competitiveness. So we have to reject such a trend. Next year, 2019, would mark the 40th anniversary of diplomatic relations between our two great countries. As Confucius used to say, at the age of 40, one never suffers from perplexities. So as we approach this important anniversary, I hope we could keep in mind how the last 40 years have served our fundamental interests. And we should keep a clear vision of what we should do together for the next 40 years to build an even stronger relations between our two countries for the benefit of our two peoples and the benefit of the entire world. And in this regard, I hope and I'm convinced the business communities of both countries and in particular CGCC, will continue to play a leading role. And thank you and bon appetit.